I talk and welcome to Plato's Cave from WCCR, coming to you from Australia, the land down under, for Revolution Radio on Revolution. Your home to ideas. Controversial, lots of controversial, old, new, indeterminate. What's your pronoun? Those. That's not pronoun. Very important. Now, the station doesn't actually receive any funding from anyone except for you, the listener, which means you, the listener, can dictate whether or not we stay on the air. So if you can support us, that would be fantastic. I can assure you none of the hosts actually get paid for this. This is all done pro bono, gratis, for free. Because we love to do it. But if you can help with the electricity, that would be great. If you can't donate, any currency is fine, by the way, including crypto, of course, or Bolivian pesos, if that's your thing. But maybe you can't, because a lot of us can't. What did I buy today? I can't remember what I bought. Oh, that's right. I bought a Danish. That's right. One of those cinnamon scrolls. We'll talk about that in a second. But
I'm not going on air until I get my Danish.
It cost me $6.70.
What?
$6.70. The Danish, $6.70. Today is the 30th of April, not the 1st of April, the 30th of April, that's right, 2024. And you can catch the cave on the air, on the line, and on your smart device. So grab an app to listen anywhere or listen at home on a great table of digital radio. And you know what? The archives are free. Another good reason to donate if you can, or tell people about the station. Don't donate, like I said, that's okay. Tell people about the station. Before we start broadcasting at you in anger, we would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land from which we broadcast, and for Dave.
It's the Dark and John.
Thank you, Hecklefish. And for myself, of course, the direct people. And we like to pay our respects to elders, past, present, and future. Now seriously though.
What I say?
It's what? It's $6 for those the cinnamon raisin thing. The scroll, whatever. I mean, what? When did that happen?
Oh, a cinnamon scroll. Is it a cinnamon scroll with but with sugar poured over it that goes hard? Oh, okay, Danish, yeah, cool.
That's the one. But seriously,
$6.
Normally, I just ordered and I just tap my card, right? And I go, how much could it possibly be? Says he. How much could it
Did you get a coffee at the same time?
Yeah, all the same.
Was that 12
and of course, the coffee
something?
cost another, $5. Yeah, so the whole thing was more than $10. They go,
sure.
So $10 for a Danish and a coffee. No, there was no caviar or truffle on my Danish. I can tell you that. That didn't happen. But normally I just tap, but today I just looked at the actual readout and I go, is that right? It's $6 something, whatever, for the cinnamon scroll. And I go, okay. That's good cinnamon scroll, don't get me wrong. It wasn't lunch, but it was good cinnamon scroll. Where though? This is the question. This is also important for your listeners out there. As you know, we've got Plato's Cave on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today being Tuesday, and we also do the Chinese Salad, obviously, on Sundays. On Sundays, we're not going through a full cycle of the, capitalism, the financial system, fiat currency model, fractional reserve lending, and the parasitic system which you've enabled. And also, the rising chorus of voices that call for something else.
Mm-hmm.
That call for something else. Because what we have just ain't working. Just isn't. But Dave, that's what we talk about on Sunday. And if you listen to it, please come in or come to the archives, or in fact come to our own channel on YouTube, Shiny Set Out. If you like to, that'd be great. The more people subscribe, the better, and the more you watch, the better. We also have got some great interviews there with a whole bunch of guests, which is something we should do again. We should invite a couple of people again to the show to talk. But it is a sign of the times, right? That people are being pushed over the edge. Because the thing is, this is the thing, Dave. I'm not buying more Danishes or more coffees. I'm buying the same. I just pay more for them.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? And that, of course, is an inflationary driver, if you believe the economists.
That's the beauty of capitalism, isn't it?
That's the yeah. Let's call it that. Let's just call it that. The beauty. The beauty. But no, it's concerning.
It depends on whose side of the margin you're on.
Well, there's that. And those that have more and more, and those that do not will have nothing at some point, and that will just be there. And there's very little that anyone can do about that, really, because that's just the world we live in. Tough luck, they say to you. Okay, tough luck, they say to you. It's a real shame.
That's the way to deal with it, isn't it?
Well, they look at us.
Of course it is.
No, but they look at us as surplus to requirement. Useless eaters. They used to call us back in the 19th and 20th century. And there are more and more people that are really feeling it. They're really feeling it. I mean, we're on the one side, we're being sold this lavish lifestyle, the Venus lifestyle, Hollywood lifestyle, right? You have a big mansion, house, cars, children go to Ivy League schools, private schools, etc., etc., and you have a boat, and that's the lifestyle that everybody aspires to. And of course, it's not possible for everybody on the planet to live like that. You just can't. But some people want to. And this really great movie called, I think it was called Just in Time, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it was with, in fact, it was with, was Justin Timberlake, I think?
And they had the amount of credits in time shown under their skin on their wrist.
Correct, that's right. And it illustrated the problem beautifully, I thought. It was a really nice illustration, a very nice analogy, because what they said is, everybody, they somehow discovered life force, let's call it life force, right? And everybody stopped aging at the age of, I want to say 20, 25, something like that. And because they arrested the aging process, right, that created surplus time, I guess, right? And at a certain age, I think was it 18, the age when the clock started to tick?
I think something like that, yeah.
And everybody got a certain amount of time at that time, but of course the surplus had to go somewhere. The surplus, of course, goes to those in power, and that's what happened. So some people, one person in the movie had, it was called Just in Time. Just in Time.
Well, just to keep the story flowing.
That's right. Yeah.
So you had to expend effort in order to get credit, and the credit was time. You only earned enough credit, pretty much, to basically live as the working poor.
Day to day.
That's all I saw.
It's called In Time. Sorry.
In Time. That's right.
It's called In Time. Okay.
So it's not too far removed from today.
No, it's exactly, and that's why it's such a beautiful analogy. Where and it's called In Time. The movie was 2011, and as Dave said, it's you literally live day to day,
and Mickey's disappeared for some reason. Doesn't appear to be my escape. It's failed. Are you still there, Mickey? Let me see.
Just missed his mother's. So she, as soon as your timer runs out, you drop dead.
That's right.
The life force is gone. Nothing, can't be revived. Too bad. And he missed her literally by seconds to save his mother.
Because you can give some of your time to somebody else by holding their wrist to your wrist. Yeah.
Yeah. And that then led down the sort of a dark path, and he meets a whole bunch of people. But the point is, in order for people to have more time, a million years one of them had, other people have to give it up. So there's a certain limited amount of resources, just like in the real world. And in order for someone to have a much bigger share than what we, I guess, consider fair, a whole bunch of other people can't have anything. And that's just how the system works. And that's how our system works. In order for the billionaires and the parasites to have what they have, a whole bunch of us can't have anything. In fact, a whole bunch of us don't have anything, but you don't have to eat or drink, as it were. But that really shouldn't be today's topic. What grabbed your attention over the last week, Dave? What
Okay.
What you?
More unaliving of people via the medium of a sharp blade. It's shocking me.
Right?
It's shocking me to my core that I have to say GSWs, because I can't say the real words. So GSWs are down.
Yes.
And unaliving via sharp blades is up.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a person just this afternoon in Bondi, Mackie, found unalive in their apartment.
And there was also an incident where a 10-year-old girl.
Oh yes, totally. Was unalived by her 17-year-old sister.
Yeah. Do we really have to talk like that in order to fool the algorithm?
Totally. So because we have now a minister looking after what's appropriate to discuss online.
Well, that's fortunate for us, isn't it?
Isn't it? I know. Because
so
if the algorithm, if it gets past the algorithm. What's very strange, though, is I saw what's the fellow that dissects the news on the ABC?
Oh, I know who you mean.
Yeah. Not Four Corners, it's the other one, the other show.
I can't think of his name. But yes, I know who you mean.
Yeah, okay. So he talks about a certain topic and then will show different media's coverage of the same thing. It is very similar to what we do. I'm going to say this. Now, he was talking about that the parish thing that occurred, that the whole world has seen. And in Australia, the actual footage of it was considered by the person who tells us what we can and can't see now, that it was too shocking. But we were able to see the live stream of it, which is still on YouTube, and you weren't allowed to share it, and it was being removed. But you could discuss it with breaking it apart and talking about it, but you could show it then, which doesn't make sense. That you can't just share the original video with people, but you can then show it up, as an inset or something like that, and you can discuss it openly. And I think that kind of open discourse is fair, and it's what the media should be doing. But still, our media was so afraid to show it that they would freeze frame it before someone was injured, and then post-injury, when you couldn't really see or work out heads or tails of what was going on. So Media Watch, Becky, it's called. So
that's right. Yeah.
So my surprise is exactly what I thought would happen anyway. It's taken a long time to get here, and I'm not happy about it at all. I just kind of called it back in Port Arthur days that, you remove those things that go bang and unalive people, and you're only just going to replace it with something. And that's what's going on. Now, I know a lot of those things occur on a daily basis anyway. And is there a concerted effort to portray that more in the media? Oh yeah, and I'll tell you why, Meki, because I know you haven't guessed this yet, but they're trying to pass a law right now that allows police, it's a bill, to be able to detect weapons on anybody at any time.
Yes.
With or without due cause, with or without a suspicion of a crime occurring, and just to use these wands to look for, metallic objects on people, willy-nilly.
Oh, look, that's been a long time coming. I completely agree. That's exactly what the intention here is. You have to remove all possible obstacles to complete control. And the first things to go are the citizens' means to defend themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the first thing. That's the first thing that goes. And it's a concerted effort. You're right, in Australia. And again, Australia was leading the charge back, when that dreadful tragedy occurred in Port Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
And it was leading the charge globally. And it was hailing Australia's, control laws.
Success.
And the way. Now, look, this is the truth, and I know this for a fact. Once you bring the control laws in, every law-abiding citizen will abide the law.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we do, right? And the people that don't abide by the law, they will continue to do exactly what they were doing before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And there will be no difference. There will be no difference in their approach to how they conduct themselves in this way. None. Zero. It'll just be what it is. And
I can only imagine that they would come up with less resistance.
Well, this is the thing, right? I mean, all right. Now, again, got to be careful how we phrase it.
Yes.
I guess. But if you remove the safety that you might be able to provide for yourself and your family,
mm-hmm.
to some extent, right? Responsibly, of course, you're more and more reliant on the government. The very reason the United States has the amendments that it has in its documents is for that very reason. In order for no one to have the power in that way over citizenry, right? That was the whole thing. We don't want any tyrants, no tyranny. You can't force me to do anything, etc., etc. That was one of the guiding principles when the founding fathers put those documents together. And very few documents in the world are like that, right? Very few, where they are concerned with the rights of the citizens, forming, militias and so forth, in their own right, in their own state, to protect the state. That doesn't really exist anywhere else.
Well,
but the
with the exception of Texas.
Well, in Texas, you can pretty much do anything you want. It's like,
and they can have a standing militia in Texas, and
correct.
can
But
leave.
when I say, in the United States you can. What I'm saying is in other nations in the world,
that's right, totally.
That just doesn't exist. So in America and in the United States, but the other states in the world, the other nations,
mm-hmm.
those documents don't exist, and you can't do it. Full stop. It's just not a thing.
In England,
and
the police don't even carry guns.
Well, for the longest time in England, the bobbies had clubs. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
And because there was this sort of inbuilt respect, I guess, for police officers, bobbies as they were called, affectionately.
Yes.
Elsewhere, the situation wasn't quite like that. The police always carried, arms in the line of duty. So that was usually something that did happen. But the violence we're seeing now, increasingly across the world, not just in America, right, but across the world, in first world nations, and really incomprehensible, senseless violence, Dave. Like you look at these acts of violence, and you can't make any sense of it. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't compute,
mm-hmm.
as it were. And whenever that happens, you should ask yourself, well, okay, one or two, okay, look, when bad things happen in the world, I get it. But when they happen more and more often, to Dave's point, well, not quite a daily basis yet, but it's bad enough. You have to ask yourself, what's going on? Yeah? I mean, of course, fear is an agenda, uncertainty is an agenda, right? But disarmament is an agenda as well. If you can't, I mean, this is the funny thing. Right now in America, you've got student protests all across America, and these student protests are in aid of the Palestinians in Gaza. That's really what they are. Okay? And hundreds of students have been arrested. And what they're doing is real protesting. Dave and I discussed this with you guys before. If you really are protesting something, if you want to make your point, you can't just go there for a couple hours, have a march, and go home, and go to Starbucks and have a triple latte vanilla smoothie with sprinkle of raspberry salt.
Have your selfies and say I did march, and then go home. Yep.
That's right. No, that's the Facebook outrage. That's my new word. That's my new term. The Facebook outrage, I call it. Something happens, I put it on Facebook. Oh, look at me, I'm an activist.
I had enough energy in the morning while I had my coffee to paste something into Facebook. There you go.
And I put a crying face next to the child's image that's starving in
that's what I did.
Africa. Right?
I know, right? Sorry,
you're a mensch.
IKR.
That's what you are.
IKR, totes.
No.
For real.
What these students are doing is the right thing. It's
I
similar
said for
to
real, and Comet said for real.
If the students are doing what was happening during Occupy Wall Street. So the students are now occupying, or rather camping out on campus, right? They're having little tent cities there, and that's the right way. If you want to make your point, you got to stay there. You got to stay there until someone listens to you. Okay, it's just, I mean, it's just how it is. You can't go until people have started listening to you, right? I mean, what's the point otherwise? And so that's what these students are doing, and hundreds, Dave. And these are Ivy League schools too, mind you. Hundreds have been arrested. What?
Yeah.
That's. I mean, now America is volatile at the moment, politically speaking, as we all know. There's Joe Biden, there's Donald Trump. Donald Trump is in court. They finally found a jury that is unbiased, and I say good luck with that. And Joe Biden is 5,000 years old in the shade. He's not gonna if you guys elect him, he's not gonna complete his term. I'd put $1 million on that. If he gets in, he's not going to complete his term. It's just not going to happen. It just won't happen. I mean, I wish him well. I hope he does. I mean, good for him. But there's just no way he's got even, a snowball's chance in hell of ever finishing the term. But what do people do? I mean, they look around. They look at all the corruption. They look at all these people. No one got punished for white-collar crimes. More and more people are living in the street. Entire families are living in the street. There's growing tension globally with China, but all my stuff comes from China. You would think. I mean, everything I have,
pretty much, yeah.
Everything I buy, comes from China. How's that gonna work? How will we deal with that? I mean, who's gonna make my stuff now?
If you want solar panels, that's where they come from.
That's where they come from. And in China's actually making good quality stuff now as well, right? But yeah, so it's really quite a conundrum.
I saw something, Mickey. Sorry, I saw something about Trudeau saying that by the end of the month or something, you won't be able to sell or buy firearms in Canada.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know whether it was real or not. Because
I don't think so.
Well, I mean,
I
it
mean,
looked like and sounded like him, but anything's. Look, it could be fake. I don't have any confirmation with any news articles on it, and I think it came from the weekend. But the nearest I could find was a discussion that he had back in 2022 publicly about it. But look, we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
no, look, what they do have is a bill called C-21, but that came into effect October 21, 2022.
Yeah, there you go.
And that was handguns.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So he was saying he wanted to make it illegal to buy and sell them.
Any guns or handguns?
Yeah, handguns.
Yeah, but that's been enforced since 22.
I wonder if they had an amnesty first, and then it was going to become solid. I don't know. Like I said, it needs to be, corroborated somewhere else.
So the interesting thing is in Canada, you know what the legal age is to own a firearm?
Mm-mm.
So right now, it's 14, but until last year it was 12.
No.
Because Canada doesn't have the same gun problems the United States has. Just don't. Canada doesn't have a gun problem. Canada's like Australia in many ways, right? Similar population, similar kind of attitude. And like I said to you before, I was watching Canadian news, and I was watching. It's a bit like the Westminster system, the parliamentary system there, right? And I watched it, and it felt like I had just somehow slid into Pleasantville.
Mm.
These were well-spoken politicians that actually discussed a meaningful issue. They weren't throwing insults at each other.
Oh wow!
Right? They are making progress.
I don't remember that happened
debate.
Anywhere else.
And I thouut this I must have slipped realities here.
I can't even remember a decade where that happened here.
It's incredible. It reminded me. This is funny, but it reminded me of the political debates I used to watch in Europe, in Germany, in Switzerland. In the parliaments there. Not so well, I guess to some extent England, but certainly Germany, Austria, Switzerland. I watched these parliamentary debates when I was younger, when I lived there, and it was similar. So my point is, it can actually work if you get people that are responsible and act like adults. It can work. Of course, we don't have that in Australia, and America increasingly doesn't have that either. But yeah, look. I
don't know, Mackie. How long do you think it's going to be before you get used to this new brand of fascism, like slowly sinking yourself into a hot tub? Do you know what I mean?
You're already there.
How long? No, it's not where we're there yet. Like you're going on holidays with your parents who are driving. When are we going to get there? Because in Australia, you could drive for 8 hours, 10 hours to get to some holiday destination. No, I mean, how long until you get used to it? Like it feels comfortable, like an old pair of jeans.
So, look, that's a fair question. So if you ask me personally, it'll never happen.
Yeah,
I'm too old.
I'm always going to be uneasy about it.
Yeah, I'm too old, and I'm too cynical and too skeptical and just mistrusting of anyone, really, to be honest with you.
That's funny, because they're the words my father said.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly the same. Because he came from an era where, the banks were dodgy. They could have a bank run any minute. You know what I mean? You got to stay on top of everything. And I'll look at every cent on my receipt because I don't trust those. And
no, he's right.
Insert expletive here, right? So, yeah, totally. And look, 100%. The amount, how much, like you said at the top of the show, you said you were about to tap, because that's the payment method. Australia is the highest adopter per capita of tap. So, just about to tap, and you went, oh, I wonder how much that was, right? Just a little whim you had, right? Hadn't even had coffee yet, right? I'm just, wow, what? Is that right? Right? So,
yes.
I remember having a $25 Reuben and nearly flabbergasted.
How much?
$25.
What was it like? With truffles and caviar, and there was like prawns sticking out of it.
Well, that's none of those things.
None of that. Nothing.
Right.
Nothing like it.
But it did, like, if I had to say it had half a pickle, that's good. But it didn't have like half a side of an animal, like, and like, you know what I mean? I remember being in the US, Mickey, and having corned beef sandwiches, and there must have been 500 grams of meat on it.
Oh yeah.
Right? And this was nothing like that. I think it was three thin slices, and half a tablespoon of sauerkraut on it, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
why is it? Were these? And I'm looking at the bun, going, I don't even think the bun's worth anything. And so, what did I just buy? And it wasn't bad. I mean, I ate it all. Right,
Well, there wasn't much there to eat, so yeah, of course you did.
Oh, there wasn't much to eat. The shrinkflation. I'm hearing so many more people today hearing and talking about shrinkflation. In the supermarket I went in to buy some milk this morning, it was $6. It was 3 litres. And these two ladies were going, do you remember when it was, and the size of this, and she holds up something from her trolley. It was like wagon wheels. So wagon wheels here are a biscuit with some marshmallow between and chocolate coated entirely on the outside. They're quite nice, but I remember when they were at least 10, 12 centimetres across.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore. These are, I don't know, 5 centimetres, or at least half the size. And it's like, what?
That's enough. What do you want more? Just be happy. Shut up. Go back in line. Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Could I have some more?
More?
Oh, you want more? More.
So everybody's talking about it.
Of course.
Because we're all
now in your face.
So, yeah, in your face. We're living this life now of deciding what we put in our trolley.
Yes.
I'm not alone. I know we're all doing it.
I was very free with my expenditures, I have to admit, right? For a while, and now I find myself, maybe I don't need to buy that, and maybe I don't need to buy that, and maybe I don't need to buy that, simply because I'm doing quite well for myself and my family is doing okay, but it catches up with you.
Oh yeah.
I mean, before I wouldn't have thought twice about taking my family out for lunch, for argument's sake, on the weekend. Now, I'm thinking, how much is that going to cost?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because, I mean, it was affordable before. As a proportion of your income, it didn't really matter that much. If you do it once in a while, who cares, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, you do it and it's okay. But now, as a proportion of your income, I tell you, I went to lunch. This was, I don't know if I've told you, Dave, I might have told you. This was about a month, maybe a bit longer ago. And there were 3 adults and 3 children under 10. Okay? So 6 people altogether. Can you guess? This is lunch. This is a lunch. No, it was not a bad lunch, mind you, but it wasn't like, oh wow, what a lunch! I'll remember this lunch for the rest of my life. Well, this one actually I will remember, but not for those reasons.
Had Willy Wonka at the table, yeah.
We spent. This is in Parramatta.
Yeah.
This is like 25 kilometers from the Sydney CBD, so it's in the west, which of course now has changed as well.
It's Sydney's second largest city. That's right. Yeah.
We spent close to $500.
Good grief!
And because the thing is, because my wife went to pay, and she came like, oh, do you have any cash on you? So, yeah, I got some cash. Here you go. It was okay. Well, she went. I thought, oh, maybe I don't know, whatever. She wanted big cash, and I was doing. So I gave her $100. Give her $100. And then afterwards, when she told me how much it was, like, you have to be kidding me. Now the juices alone were close to $20 each. The juice, a glass of juice. the dips, like hummus and dips like that.
Yeah.
That's like $15 for those. It's not going to feed you. The flatbreads, I think they're like $15-20 each as well. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't look at because I expected like lunch, brunchy thing. How much could it possibly be, right? How much could it possibly be? Yeah, famous last words, my friend.
Rookie
Numbers. and now this was a nice place in Parramatta Park. Don't get me wrong, right? But there was no ocean view. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There was no dancers.
Can you see a light rail from there?
No, nothing like that.
Oh.
and it was full. It was packed. That was the other thing that I found astounding. It was packed. And I thought to myself, this is serious money.
Did they have to open up your children's drink bottles and charge corkage?
Oh, you brought your own shoes, sir. We'll just pay a shoe cover. No? Well, you didn't buy our shoes. So. No, it really astounded me, right? I mean, I've been to many corporate lunches and whatnot. You get used to certain things because you don't pay for it; the company pays. But or the other company, whatever the case may be. But this, like I said, it was packed. And I thought, look, things can't be that bad if all these people are here. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Can't be that bad. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to go back there in a hurry. It was nice. But I was just, I mean, I could have gone to Barangaroo and had a cheaper meal.
That's like the wealthiest spot in Sydney right now. Hey,
yeah,
Mackie,
it's like
I went to the Bavarian Schnitzelhausen.
Oh, yes.
But this one is at Tuggerah. Now Tuggerah.
Okay, yeah, but maybe the same proprietor still, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. So there's one at Erina and one up here at Tuggerah, and I'm like smack bang between the two, so I could go to either. It doesn't really matter. I do like the one at Erina. Been there a few times and had team lunches and stuff there. But this, I took the kids. Now the kids were like 7 and 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Belinda was working, and my wife and I decided, look, I'll take the kids out for schnitzels because they love schnitzels, right?
That's nice.
Yeah. So I took them there, and I thought, there's people in the restaurant, right? Not the only one here, and it was $280.
Holy moly!
It's only myself and my 2 little kids.
How much did you guys eat?
And their schnitzels were $80 each. And I said, surely, they're children. And I was ordering the schnitzel from the children's menu, which should be like, I don't know, $15, $18 back then, right?
Something like that.
And they go, obviously they added the sauce, and the sauce makes it the adult menu.
Hang on. The sauce.
Like because that was the only difference between the kids' menu and the adults' menu was the sauce.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like, well, I'm not going to argue with you. Clearly you could see their children, and you should have said to me when I was ordering, do you realise that's, look, maybe, get some ketchup or something, right? Like that, some tomato sauce.
So, but hey, how big were those schnitzels?
Oh, they still weren't the adult size schnitzel, let me tell you that.
What?
They weren't, no. And
so what you're saying to me is that somebody had this genius idea, which I think it is genius, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
There's a schnitzel, it's a kid's schnitzel. If I have ketchup with it, it'll cost me $15. But if I get my super sauce, which is what it must be, it's probably it had a high percentage of gold. There was a high percentage of gold in the sauce. That's where you went wrong, Dave.
So it's funny.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's funny because my wife gets an alert, just like Mr. Burns does when someone charges someone to the company. My wife gets an alert of my spend, and so, I've done the tap and I've gone, whoa, that's looking at the receipt. Oh my my Lord,
Yeah.
right? And and I went back. Is this right? I was at that table there, right? I was at the table, pointing at the table. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's what it is. Yep. And then we had that big discussion. I shooed the kids off so they couldn't hear me talking to them.
Yeah.
And on the way home, my wife rings me. What did you eat for lunch? And I could have gone to Hog's Breath. Remember Hog's Breath?
I do.
That's got curly fries, and it caters for a lot of families and children specifically. And I could have gone there. Didn't. No. So I thought I'll go somewhere where it's known, and and I paid the price. Mind the pun. Of not examining it further. And I learned it. And certainly, that's the end. I'm never going back there. I don't care.
No, but that's even more insane than my story. That's outrageous.
But $500, Becky, for lunch.
No.
Who does that?
But there were like 3 adults and 3 kids and then whatever. We had drinks and all.
That's
but
still crazy.
For schnitzel,
Yeah.
$200-something for schnitzel.
$280, Becky.
280 for 3, 1 adult, 2. Okay, so this is the
we
problem.
we all had Cokes,
See,
right?
the special. Is there any bourbon in this shit?
There's no bourbon, not even alcohol. And there was a garlic bread, I think 2 garlic breads or something like that. And I was, look, you know what? They saw us all coming, charged whatever the hell they wanted. It was like we had a special menu that was, here's the sucker menu, look at this.
Yes, the Danger special.
That's right.
You look like a well-to-do individual. You can afford our prices.
That's why I go shopping bare feet now. I don't care. I look like you know what? When I go shopping, and this is true, in my local shops, everyone knows me anyway, right? But the people who don't know me, because I'll just turn up with no shoes on and just go walking.
Pants, right? You got pants.
I had pants in this version. Right? And I can hear over the store announcements, those special announcements that they have when they're trying to ID for you, well, for the store detective to follow you. I can hear those announcements. I love it. Completely love it. And I know it's for me. And it happened especially when I was up visiting my father as well. Because they don't know who I am. And it's very funny. So I like the fact that they do it. And I don't really care. If anyone actually engages me in conversation, they'll see that I'm not a complete lunatic. I do know what I'm talking about, and I'm polite and kind, and I have the money to pay for the goods that I'm got in my cart, right? But it's very funny to hear that. It really is, and I especially like doing it when I'm abroad or I'm out of my local neighborhood. It does. My kids hate me for it. They just can't stand it.
No.
Dad, put some shoes on. I thought they were in the car, Dad, Dave. Sorry, kids, but they're not. So I'm going to barefoot.
And I'm 100% with you. I really am. I'm 100% with you, and I think, maybe we should become more extreme than that even.
We don't have Hollywood producers here that are going to spot you and cast you for some show. It's not like Southern California, that every time you go out the door, you could actually be cast in a movie. Someone could be driving past and go, that's the person we want right there. Right? I remember seeing Mickey when I was there. I know it's a long time ago now, but when I was there, I was surprised at how much people would dress up just to go out their front door. Just in case.
It does happen here, though. I mean, maybe not as much. Or maybe now it does. Because I knew this girl, and she was just walking down the street, and she was spotted by a couple of talent scouts, which they were actually looking for talent for Dark City. Remember the movie Dark City?
Yeah.
Everybody had their head shaved, and she was asked if she wanted to be in it. Look, it does happen, and I understand why you would do it if you're if you're living there. I get it. You want to look good, and it could be a career for you, etc., etc. But I think what we should be doing, honestly,
It's looked
is what
like
you're
the
doing.
apocalypse has already begun.
Well,
Oh, sorry,
yeah.
did I say that out loud?
Because the thing is, I mean, if you come in dressed to the nines and people look at you, oh, him, can afford everything, just charge him triple, and look, I don't know, it's like that overseas, you know that, right?
Yeah.
If you go overseas,
Silk tie and
and
shiny
if you're a
shoes.
tourist, oh no, you can come in you can go without pants, but because you're clearly
just
a tourist,
looking like a tourist, yeah.
they'll charge you tourist prices. Just how it is.
I like the exchange rate scams that they get the tourist on. That's gold.
Oh, it is. But I tell you what, man, I don't even know where this is going to end one day. I mean, we all have to just wear our rags for the tax. When the taxman comes, just wear rags. What? What do you mean? Because, I mean, ultimately, he's going in a direction that none of us will be able to afford anything. Maybe we'll just, if you are on a good wicket, maybe you'll just be able to live.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just be able to live, and that's all. That's all. And everything else just out of reach, And maybe at that point, you will be happy to live in a silo, right? Not own anything, because the truth is, well, you can't afford anything anyway. So what's the difference? That's what they'll tell you, right? The difference, of course, is
all this poor making. And I've got air quotes, poor making. All this poor making that's going on at the moment. This is dissolving what we had to nothing. There isn't any reason for all this inflation that makes any sense to anybody, and they're trying to make it so that we're now living within our 15-minute cities, not going anywhere, just vacuuming every last cent out of our pockets. And the only way they can do this is by making us all poor. I've worked for 35 plus years, and I'm just surprised. I thought I'd be in a much better position in life than I am.
Yeah.
I thought at this point in my life, could be a little discerning about what I purchased and not having to go always with the half price special or the thing that's on sale or trying to buy the bulk item because you get more for less money, right? Goes further. I didn't think I'd be there. I really didn't.
Look, I think a lot of us, I'm including myself there as well, we're thinking that because our parents, let me paint you this picture, right? This used to be the puppet show back in the day when my mother and father were knee-deep in the workforce, 20, 30 years ago. My mom would work very hard. She was very capable. She really was. And she would just get pay rises. Like, they would just happen. This is in Germany, mind you, right? So, I've got more money in my paycheck. Yeah, well, you deserve it. We give you a pay rise. It's not fighting over pay rises. People recognized your hard work and gave you a pay rise. And then they got a promotion, etc., right? This is when capitalism worked, to some extent at least. Not for everybody, but it was working better than it is working today. When people were given their fair due. And that's all we're talking about here, right? Because that's gone, Dave. What you've described has gone completely by the wayside.
Yeah.
No one is interested in giving anyone their fair pay.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you? What's in it for them to give that to you? Why would they do it? Why would they give you fair pay? It makes no sense. And you go, hang on, no, it does. No, it doesn't. Because everybody's out for themselves. They all want to maximize their profits, increase shareholder value, whatever, And it's always in the back of the people that do actual work. And very few people realize the value, right, that other people bring. It's never given, right? They get the money. They don't do all the work. You can say they have responsibility. Sure, I get that, fair enough. But they don't work as hard as the people that actually work. And those people aren't paid. You have to ask yourself, do I really contribute 100 times more or 50 times more or 1,000 times more than the next person in the company? If the answer is no, well then how do you justify your paycheck that's 50 or 100 or 1,000 times greater than the next person's?
Yeah.
But like I said, it wasn't perfect, but back in the day, and this was across Europe pretty much, you would get these pay rises and promotions because back then people realized, hey, this is a good person. We want to keep this person. This person is bringing us a lot of money, but not only that, but this person is driving us forward. There's more than just cash consideration here. It's also consideration around workplace and looking up to people, etc., etc. And funnily enough, after about 20 years out of the workforce, my mom came back to her job. And people that had gone to university, she hadn't gone to university, she just night courses and all that. This was after the war, right? And people that had gone to university and studied all kinds of things, they were working on one case. She was a person that worked on insurance cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would work on one case, and that was just too much already, and they'd go home early, etc., etc. So it was a bit of a generational gap. And my mom would have like 10, 20 cases.
Yeah.
And her boss was just grinning. She tells me, she told me like that her boss was grinning ear to ear that she was there. And he couldn't give her enough money. I was like, no, we will give you another pay rise. How about just we'll pay for your flat, And
so it's still cheaper than getting 10 different people. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, completely. Mm-hmm. So there's also a difference in work ethic that comes through, of course, right? But these days, it's just not like that anymore. There's no company loyalty. The company doesn't feel any loyalty towards you.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I don't see it. And because that loyalty doesn't exist, you're just a number. You're actually irrelevant for the most part. I mean, we can replace you tomorrow with someone else.
Well, like Zorg from Fifth Element. Fire 10,000, but I said 5,000. Get rid of 10.
No, million. It's a million.
Get a million. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. But yeah, that's right. Just fire it. Just gone. And that's happening in all the corporations today. I can tell you this is exactly what happens. If you can't make your margins, the easiest way to make your margins by letting people go, because it's a cost, and if you eliminate the cost, you can book it as profit. That's just accounting.
And then you look profitable, and you look successful because you just increase profit.
Yeah, but it's of course a complete fantasy.
Because all you're doing is removing the people who could actually accomplish that work. It's gold.
It.
I love it.
Look at I know. There are days, Dave, when I feel like I'm living in a Dilbert cartoon. Oh, really? I feel like I'm living in it. And there was, I remember this one time, this was years ago, I was sitting at my desk, and I had just had this experience on the phone, which is very upsetting, and I swear to you, the next, I have daily Dilberts back in the day, there were daily Dilberts.
Yeah.
The next day, I was getting them on a daily basis. The Dilbert that came through was describing my situation.
The exact situation, that's right.
The exact situation that I was in. I go, you have to be joking. And I looked for cameras over my desk. It was like, yeah, of course. But what became clear to me is that what I had experienced the previous day must have been experienced by thousands, if not millions, of people in the world. And similar with all the other Dilbert situations, People can relate because it happens in their life. It's a thing. And now, if you've never read a Dilbert cartoon, and I still love Dilbert, and I don't think the guy is a racist, but that's a whole different discussion. That's just my preference in things, because I think Dilbert is genius. I really do believe Dilbert is a work of genius.
I just pasted the latest one into the chat room. I'll give you a copy as well. It's hilarious. Can't read it on air, but it's funny.
Yeah, but that gold, right?
Well, I at my work, I made it on the homepage of SharePoint because I was SharePoint admin, and I built the whole ERP with it. I put Dilbert there. It's just because it makes the page look fresh every time you visit. It's a new cartoon every day, right? And every single day it was the IT life. Whatever that said was happening in IT today. Nuts. It was like magic. Just like magic that it was occurring.
Oh, hang on.
That's the music.
You're joking.
No.
Oh, look. Thank you, everybody. This has been... Where did the time go? I feel like I had like a time lapse. This has been Plato's Cave, and we clearly have been abducted and been dropped 20 miles from where we started. Don't go anywhere. I'm sure something else is going to come up. We'll be back on Thursday, but most of all,